On February 24th, a few hours into the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the story of a group of Ukrainian soldiers was circulated aggressively on news and social media. In this story, the soldiers were said to have defiantly given their lives to defend Snake Island, a small island in the Black Sea, from a Russian warship. A Ukrainian official said 13 soldiers had been killed and circulated an audio clip wherein these soldiers could be heard swearing at the Russian warship, rejecting its appeal to surrender. On the other hand, Russian forces kept saying that the Ukrainian soldiers were alive and they were captured by Russia. The Ukrainian audio clip received tremendous attention from media across the world. Great story, right? Turns out this was all misinformation. Interestingly, just days later, Ukrainian officials revealed that the group was still alive and in Russian custody, just as the Russian Defense Ministry had said all along. The Snake Island story is not the only misinformation or propaganda to be passed around as news without looking at the other version of the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Heroic and uncritical representation of Ukrainian defense has led to several such fake news reports making rounds all over television and internet media over the last week. I'm Prajakta, and in today's episode of Made Simple Fact Check Edition, let's take a look at the information warfare in Ukraine-Russia conflict that is being fought on mainstream news outlets and social media. Let's take a look at another example. Just a few days ago, a video of a very exceptional fighter pilot was circulated and lauded as a Ukraine-Russia war video. The pilot instantly became a folk hero. Known as the Ghost of Kiev, social media posts and even some news outlets said the pilot single-handedly brought down 6 Russian planes since the invasion began. In fact, Ukraine's former president Petro Poroshenko also uploaded a picture of the said heroic pilot. However, the fact checks that came after the video went viral showed that it was from a combat simulator video game. The person who uploaded the video to YouTube said that even though the footage is from the game, it is nevertheless made out of respect for the Ghost of Kiev. But fact checkers have not been able to confirm whether the Ghost of Kiev even exists. Moreover, even after the myth of the Ghost of Kiev was debunked, the media still lauded it as a war morale instead of blatantly criticizing the misinformation it spread. This brings us to our next example. You must have seen this image circulating on social media since the war began. It is claimed to be a story of an 8-year-old Ukrainian girl who is confronting a Russian soldier asking him to go back to his country. Fact checks that followed this have showed that this is actually a Palestinian girl, Ahed Tamimi, confronting an Israeli soldier. Many viral images and videos claiming to be of the horrors of Russia's attacks were in fact found to be repurposed from other conflicts, mainly from the Middle East. A video showing a Syrian government convoy being destroyed by Turkish drones was also widely circulated as a Ukraine war video. It was also shared by a verified journalist on Twitter. This and several such images and videos have been floating since day one of the war. This video or these fact checks do not mean to undermine the suffering and agony of lakhs of civilians stranded in the war-torn Ukraine. But the informational warfare and media's blind trust into any and every Ukrainian claim without even considering the other version or simple verification says a lot about how the world views a war that affects Europe versus how it views the conflict-torn regions in Asia, Africa, Middle East, Latin America, practically anywhere outside the interest of the West. In fact, media houses haven't even been subtle about this. Most news reports don't fail to emphasize how people fleeing their country due to the war this time are not some poor people in the Middle Eastern country.
See, European people with blue eyes and blonde hair being killed, children being killed every day with Putin's missiles.
With all due respect, like Iraq or Afghanistan that has seen conflict raging for decades, this is a relatively civilized, relatively European, I have to choose those words carefully too.
Now the unthinkable has happened to them. And this is not a developing third world nation. This is Europe.
It's not that this kind of propaganda does not come from the other side either. Russia had denied invasion of Ukraine for days leading up to the war, and it has continued to do so even after, claiming that this is just a special operation to demilitarize and eliminate Nazi elements in Ukraine. However, the difference between how a state media reports the news of its home country and how the entire world covers the war from the point of view of a single country makes a huge difference. To justify the portrayal of Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky as a protagonist fighting an antagonistic Putin, is the Western world's media ready to compromise on the journalistic principles of fact-checking and objective gaze? As a result, the news media is seen picking a side in a war that is filled with multitudes of intricacies and narratives. While infowar tactics and propaganda may be useful in a war, It makes us, the global viewers and consumers of news, susceptible to deceit and pawns of a war that we never participated in. So next time when you see a news story that gives little information and more emotional appeal, remember to take it with a pinch of salt. If you find this video informative, do share it with your friends. Do not forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell icon and pay to keep good journalism alive.